Rise and shine, small silkworm of the shundi. The morning smells of river water and silky leaves. The groves tremble under an ethereal fog. The morning dew pearls on the mulberry bark like tiny coins heaven forgot to collect. The year is 1898 in Shunde in the Qing Empire. You are 15, the daughter of a predominant mulberry silk farmer. Your fingers are nicked from reeling silk, your greyish eyes grainy from grief. Your mother has just died, and your father's voice has aged a decade overnight. Your household gods still wear their mourning. Red paper veils drape across their faces, white cloth whispering over the doorways. The incense burns low, slow, curling like an emotionally broken hand around the rafters. Your father has no patience for grief. To Canton, he says, devoid of emotion in a way that shows its suffering. The worms have spun their silken prayers, the cocoons are boiled, the dye has dried, and the merchants on the river are starving. Silk must move or it suffocates. A truth economically poetic. Currency doesn't always clink in a purse. In your province, silk is the real tender. Smooth, unmelting, and more reliable than any minted coin. Mulberry silk, spun in your family's looms, is of the highest calibre, sought by queens, courtesans, and merchants alike. A single puckle today would fetch the price of a modern souped-up Jeep, about $32,000, all in one delicately dyed yard. You don't just have one pickle though, your family has hundreds. With your mother gone, you are the new matriarch of the moth, the weaver, the broker, the charm in every transaction. Your livelihood depends not merely on silk, but on persuasion, a softer art than spinning, and far more dangerous. Dozens of rivals wait to undercut you, your father knows this. The ancestors may keep their vigil in red, but you? You are expected to sail, to smile, and to turn thread into fortune before the incense dies out. The Pearl River's less a river and more a global argument with water in it. British traders bark orders over Portuguese laughter. Indian brokers haggle with Hokkien merchants. Somewhere, a Jesuit is translating greed into Latin. Sampans jostle for space like diplomats at a banquet. Rice, sugar, spices, porcelain, and tea. The air hums with mosquito wings and the faint arrogance of the civilized worlds. Your father has said nothing for miles. When he does, it's arithmetic, not comfort. Money may keep the world turning, but silk is what makes it smile. While your father handles the ledgers, you tend to the subtler art, displaying your precious cargo and pairing colours with destinies. For a young bride soon to meet her husband, you select a gentle peach threaded with silver, the blush of innocence bound to the glow of status. For a British admiral hoping to impress his monarch, you offer a bolt of deep red, the colour of valour and victory, though you let him believe it's rarer than it is. When a Portuguese merchant requests yellow, you feign shock. That shade is forbidden without an imperial seal. To spare his pride and secure the sale, you guide him toward a blue-green silk with gold filigree, whispering that it flatters the sun. You're a natural at this, the quiet queen of persuasion, the Jordan Belfort of slinging silk. We have to move, your father murmurs, binding the boat to the dock as the tide exhales around your ankles. You trail behind him through Yamashita Alley, where banners promise tea, fortune, and forgetfulness. Lanterns lean low, dripping wax onto the stones. The alley spills into a courtyard drowned in red tapestry, a place that wants to be a temple, but has forgotten the prayers. A door opens. Dark smoke and amber light spill out like a secret too heavy to keep. Inside, the parlour is giving pick-me-girl energy. The place is trying way too hard to seem nice. Bamboo floors polished to gilt. Jasmine burns abrasively to disguise the obvious. Opium. A crowd of foreign merchants glances up from their ledgers, greeting your father warmly. Their Cantonese sounds like a throat condition that needs more tea than can be offered. Their ledgers are fat and fake, just like their faces. Silk for London, the papers say. It seeps in, quiet as ink. The silk has been serving two masters. Every bolt you touched, every crate you crafted has carried more than cloth. It carried poison wrapped in beauty. Your family hasn't just been selling silk, it's been smuggling opium to regions of the world while it's been illegal for years. The disruptive substance has proven itself to be too destructive, and to restrain its heavenly yet addictive grasp, selling opium to the outside world is punishable by death. But, as with all things with addiction, where there is a will, there is a way. Silk is expensive, so is its construction. Your father ensured that harbour officials are paid. Your mother taught foreign merchants how to properly pay off patrols while their cargo was checked, ensuring everything would set sail smoothly. Your family chose survival while you were choosing which tiny toddler foot to put in front of the other. They chose survival. They chose you, no matter the risk. With that much love behind decision making, can you truly be angry with them? Every tutor, every bowl of rice, every gift garnished for you in satin-like espionage. All this was done to secure your future. Now you need to secure yours. It's not the first life you'd have chosen, but it's the one you have now. Of course, curiosity wins. It always does. You crawl to the crate as everyone rests, untie a bolt of silk, and, well, there it is. Little noir paper ghosts tucked between the folds, sealed in wax and smelling of vinegar. You don't need to open them, it burns your nose and your innocence in equal measure. Your father catches you, of course. Parents have that talent for showing up exactly when you're about to implode. His face is a map of unpaid bills and sleepless nights, which can be read like a children's book, even in the lamplight. This pays, he says softly. Silk feeds us, smoke feeds them. And for you, that's all that ever needs to be said. Duty and family first. Days bleed into weeks, and weeks into seasons. 2 full turns of the river, counting in tides instead of calendars. That's the way markets work. Canton's fortune floats on contradiction. Pickle preaching deliverance while divulging in sin. Mandarins condemning opium with one hand and pocketing coin with the other. The list goes on, just like the opium trade. The city hums with guilt and prosperity in equal measure. You grow into the trade the way silk takes dye, reluctantly, then completely. Small enough to pass inspection, clever enough to survive it, you move through the docks unnoticed and unimpressive, exactly what you need to make sure papers pass into important hands and bribes fall into the right pockets unnoticed. You pick up bits and pieces of languages from the world you'll never know. Enough Dutch to be able to make simple transactions, enough English to understand when you're trying to be swindled, a substantial amount of Portuguese so you can haggle favourably. You don't love the work, but you love the proof that it keeps your father breathing, your roof dry, your rice pot full. Everything has its price. The real danger comes after dusk. Drunken sailors mistaking you for a flower house girl, their breath reeking of liquor and loss. In their mind, everything here is for sale. You slip away each time, heart pounding, disgusted, offering thanks later in incense and fruit at the ancestors' table. You secretly yearn for the oranges and incense to be enough to take you far away from a life like this someday. A life with a kind husband with enough money to where trading this gloomy goop doesn't need to be necessary. In hindsight, your fate was inevitable. You were low-hanging fruit on a desperate tree in dangerous ground. You leave the dock after ensuring your bribes have been well received, and you think you've taken a dark, quick shortcut that will lead you back to the flower house where you and your father are finding refuge. Big mistake. All you could smell was myrrh-ridden mud and sea salt. All you saw was the road before you. You couldn't see them coming. You feel the sharp blow at the back of your head, and that's all. Everything goes black. Who knows how much time has passed? When you wake, your wrists are bound, your mouth gagged with a rag that tastes like yesterday's catch. The ceiling drips resin, the air thick with incense gone sour. This is not your den. The curtains here are mousy and cheap, the lamps too bright, the laughter behind them wrong. A rival house with ugly rival men, hungrier, reckless, smelling of envy and unwashed greed. They tower over you with the kind of grin that could gut a mackerel, starving, not for fish, but for the pleasure of watching you flinch. Her father will pay. If he doesn't, the house will. She's still young enough she can get a good price. Whether she's a virgin or not, we can say that she is. Their laughter rips the courage right out of you, like the fish you can tell they typically gut. You test the knots until they burn. No luck. No window, only walls that sweat. 2 days passed in fragments. Rice water, arguments, the clatter of dice. You watch, too anxious to sleep. Where's your father? He has more than enough to save your life. Where is he? By night 3, the negotiations could use a moderator. Boots, shouts, accents colliding like bad theatre. You don't need a translator to recognise the universal language of commerce. A woman here, a handful of coins there, moral bankruptcy accepted in all major currencies. You already know the ending. The buyer arrives in a uniform that seems more gin than glory, hair like rust and manners worse. He drunkenly places the oil lamp down with a burp. What a gentleman! He then unfastens your ropes. His hand brushes your cheek and you nearly laugh. It's the most polite assault you've endured. When the gag falls away, you taste metal, smoke, and something older than rage. It feels like your ancestors have pulled up chairs to watch you correct a generational mistake. You tear one arm free and seize the nearest chair. The swing lands clean, wood splinters and fractures ferociously. You can't understand his screams, but you know they're angry and insulting. He reels backward into the lamp. Light erupts, fire dancing furiously across sheets where bodies were intended to. His hand lashes across your face. Heat, pain, a flash of red. You fall but rise again, clutching a shard of wood sharp enough to draw blood from his forearm. The room is now a furnace of colour and carnal survival instincts. You struggle to see through the smoke. He escapes in coughing panic, limping, his body out the only door. You crawl towards the door, breath rasping, eyes stung blind. The ceiling groans, the floor dissolves into flame. You shake the door. It's locked. The flames grow higher and higher, the smoke suffocating. Outside, bells and buckets clash. The river answers in sparks. The night glows like molten coin. By dawn, the fire sleeps. Smoke drifts over the river like silk unspooling into water. The current gathers what remains, ash, ember, and fragments of a story, and carries them east towards the sea. Traders call it debris. They don't look twice. What's left is little. A few bones the flames refused, a curl of scorched fabric, the faint ghost of mulberry. You tried. You fought the world that sold you and the fire that kept its bargain. Yet the city forgets easily. But to the world, you were just a woman. There are hundreds like you, faces without names, threads without colour. You were not chosen. You were simply caught. Only the ancestors remember, their unseen hands cradling what the world consumed.